Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Guide Chat. I'm Jake. Welcome today for the weekly tarot reading. I want to, first of all, say I'm sure there's a big sigh of relief after the election day this Tuesday. I'm filming this today on Thursday. And my predictions were right in regards to all three of the major races that were going on. Um, those Democratic candidates did win. There was all the way leading up to the race in New Jersey, there were worry that out of all the races, that was the one that was still up in the air. But happily, that when I did the dowsing rods, we cleared that to some of the negative feelings in towards that New Jersey race. But I shouldn't say negative. It was a much harder work for Mikey Sherrill to the now governor-elect there in New Jersey to win that one. So what I want to do today is still focus on mainly on the U.S. just because there's a lot going on currently. And what I want to first ask in regards to the aftermath of this blue wave of elections is to first focus on New York and to see at with Zoran Mandani, the mayor-elect of New York City. He'll take office in January of next year. So let's take a look at his term, his first term, because I've always had a feeling that he'll probably run again. So let's look at his first term spirit and see how that will go. Can you show me how Zoran Mandani's? So we get the Nine of Cups you saw fly out. That means there's going to be a lot of contentment, satisfaction. And cups usually are the an emotional card, so that is the feeling around them. I know right now there are a good. I mean, he won over 50%, so there's a majority, over a majority of New Yorkers or voters that voted in that election that were very supportive of him. There's still a chunk of people, even the ones maybe who voted for him, that are still kind of unsure, or the ones who didn't are scared. Of course, wrongly calling him a communist. He's a Democrat socialist. Socialism is totally different, FYI, than communism. In what are we talking about? The Hierophant is the government. The feeling that Ten of Cups was about the city government, how they okay, and done. Let's see how they're doing. So this is definitely a transition with this card. We have the Six of Swords moving out of troubled water. What's the biggest thing that he's going to have to overcome? Is the Eight of Wands. There's going to be a lot of frustration and delays. So here's the thing that the reality that New Yorkers, if there's anyone from New York or anybody in general thinking about someone coming in promising big changes, there's a lot of other individuals in government besides him. He is not the king. He is the mayor of New York City. So he has to work with other individuals in city government. And there's also the General Assembly, because I believe in New York, with New York City can't levy new taxes without the approval of the state legislature. And of course, the governor, Kathy Hochul, which is a more moderate Democrat than he is. She's definitely not a Democrat socialist approval for taxes. And she's heading into an election next year. So there are going to be definitely delays in some of the changes that he was promising. And also, reminder, he's a politician. How many politicians have delivered on every promise? This was in the past. This is what people were feeling. And this can be applied across the board right now with the Five of Pentacles. People are finding financial loss. They're lost. They're very worried about what's going on in the government. He's going to be very ambitious. This Nine of Swords is a fast moving knight. He is wanting to make these changes. There's a lot of positivity in his term, which with the Sun card, which is a very, very positive card for him. In the near future, Wheel of Fortune. This is a good card. Again, you got two major arcanas in a row with the Sun, and now the Wheel of Fortune telling this is in a turning point. This means in regards to a good turning point going on. There is going to be a lot more unity. He is going to be working with others to make these changes and working for the people. There is going to be, from the outset, a lot of contemplation and meditation on things. I think this goes for, because this is the spot for an outside and about the outside environment. So this can be twofold in regards to others, the Democrats, thinking of how they can take on some of his ideas that are successful or were successful in his campaign and apply it to the broader Democratic Party. The other thing is probably the Republicans thinking about what they did wrong during this time frame. The hope is more wealth with the King of Pentacles here. And in the outcome card, there's going to be a lot more shining light on some of the injustices that are going on. They're going to do some clarity things. He's definitely looking at the long-term view. A lot of Pentacles here, he is looking at affordability, what he was talking about. There's a lot of community coming along, a celebration about this turning point, proposals to the government with the Hierophant, and he'll be viewed as a natural leader. And that might not be a mistake that I'm saying national, because I think he definitely, being a mayor in New York City, he will be looked upon as a rising star with the natural leader as the King of Wands. So that can be spirit trying to correct what I was wanting to say with what they're wanting me to say. So there you go. That's a lot of positivity going on with that. Again, we saw that there are going to be delays and frustrations. So don't get me wrong that saying that everything's going to be perfect and hunky-dory with everything. I mean, come on, we're all human beings. You have to, when it comes to government and politics especially, you have to deal with a lot of people, a lot of individuals, and they're not all going to be on the same page. Okay, I want to also take a look at moving on to a broader spectrum about the Republicans of the GOP, what their real feelings about these election losses. Of course, minus Donald Trump, most of these leaders or Republicans that are talking are not being real about what's really going on. So let's take a peek into what the general consensus is about these election losses. What are they feeling right now? What is their plan moving forward into the next year's midterms and other elections that will be going on? Here's the death card. It's the beginning of the end, for I think that's what they're feeling. This is the beginning of the end. We have the Four of Wands crossing that. There's a lot of breakdown in communication. There's a lot of conflict, internal conflict going on about pointy fingers and things like that, which is kind of already that's to be expected. That's what I'm trying to say. In the recent past, with these elections, this blue wave was showing with the star card. There's a lot of hope that this can finally end. This is from what happened, and of course, that's with hope is the death card for the Republicans. There are a lot of illusions, delusions with the communication, with the Seven of Cups and the foundation of this reading. Crowning this reading, not surprising, there's a lot of loss with and regret in this Five of Cups. There's coming soon, which is not surprising. And with the wands, we're talking about communication. This is a new opportunity for them in beginnings to try a different narrative. So don't be surprised that things go. There's a different approach with some of the Republicans. Again, there are the Sun card in this instance. I think is going to be a start of the rebirth of the Republican Party. I think there's going to be a lot of with that. Four of Wands here. I think there's going to be fracturing off this MAGA. You'll begin seeing a fracture in the MAGA group. And those who weren't never hardcore, they were just on the bandwagon. Definitely deep wounds, painful endings, and the Ten of Wands. There are some individuals. The hope is to start working on a long-term view with the Eight of Pentacles. Then here, but then they still have the influence with the devil, not physically with the devil, with the dark side of things. You know, the physical things about money and greed and things like that. But they're still going to be having to find out to keep their steady ground, to keep their success in what they're doing with the majority. There is going to be new clarity on who the Republican Party is, and definitely a rebirth. Because what people want is more compassion with the Queen of Cups from the party. Definitely a turn of ending one cycle to another, and the start of the Tower, the fall of the Republican Party. So I would say not just the fall of the majority of the Republican Party, but also the ending of the MAGA portion of the party too, from a majority to a fringe group where it should have been all this time. It should have been a fringe sort of thing like the Tea Party movement and whatnot. Okay. So that is where they're at. Okay, there was a story that came out this week. Interesting enough, that AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, was asked in an interview about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and her little thing that she said was Marjorie Taylor Greene, why she's actually speaking against the Republicans and going on these talking circuits and things like that. And AOC said that Marjorie Taylor Greene started doing this because she was denied Trump her that she could not run for the Senate in Georgia. And that was the reason why she's now doing this, telling the secrets, not having the support, not supporting much of the Republican MAGA agenda. So let's take a look. Was AOC telling the truth? Is that the reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene has definitely turned on the MAGA and Republican Party on many things? Let's take a look. Now, one thing I'll say about her that definitely I won't, and I'm sure many of you won't, forget what she said in the past, what she's done in the past. However, I'm all for people realizing and waking up from their wrongdoings and wanting to do better. If that means she still has power, and we can't forget that she still has a vote and influence in Congress. So if we can get her to bring healthcare, end this shutdown, I mean, why not? Let's get this done. Doesn't mean we have to trust her on other things or forget about other things. Okay, let's take a look at her. Okay, so this is an opportunity for her we'll talk about more. Eight of Wands, definitely frustration. Is the crossing of why this is happening. There was many disagreements. I don't think that in the past, this is in the past with this Five of Wands. I don't think it's just the Senate. I think there was many other things. I think there was briefly talk that she was wanting to be Trump's running mate. She was never a pick considered. and there was other things. I think sometimes some of the committees she wanted to be on and whatnot, and then the Senate thing I think was the last straw here. Right now she's taken on the extra responsibility by doing this and going against them. She's definitely there is an evolution going on. So what I was saying, not to say again, forgetting about what she's done, and not to say that she'll never do those kind of things again, but there's definitely a start of an evolution going on with the Empress card to be more compassionate. Here's the crossroads coming in the near future with the Two of Swords. Right now, she's being very independent with the Queen of Swords, and definitely this is the truth card telling the truth. So what she's calling out on the Republicans is very much so what's going on. She's finding new ways of communicating, getting her ideas across. She's realized, I think, here's the thing. I think she's realizing the part of this evolution with these cards are saying she's definitely at a crossroads. Like I said, she can go back, revert back. But I think she's starting to see that she can be more powerful and people hear her more by actually speaking the truth. I mean, shocker, right? That she speaking the truth is more powerful than lying. I mean, surprise. I mean, wow. Um, Knight of Pentacles is in the hopes of fear. She hopes this hard work's going to pay off in the long run, and the Queen of Cups by continuing to be emotionally stable and stuff. So, in essence, she's trying to keep her job. I mean, that's one of the things. But in the background, she's realizing, oh, wow, people are listening to me more because I'm not talking like a crazy. I'm actually talking truths in the matter. It just thoroughly shocks me because I don't function that way. And I'm sure many of you out here watching do not function in that way. And to see this evolution is like, wow, we learned this back when we were kids, right? So there you go. Okay. Next, well, I like I said, going in regards to the shutdown. I really think that there is a deal being worked on right now. Um, when I checked on it last week, that update, I said that there's probably going to be a deal, which they keep alluding to through is from the Senate Majority Leader is alluding that there is a deal out there. So that is something that I mentioned, and I think that it'll be sometime next week. I think the election is something that really shook the Republicans because, like I said, I think they thought that they could have irked out maybe a couple things, but when they realized double digit wins, but yeah, that was much worse in their little bubble that they're in it. So, with that being said, when the government opens up, um, we'll have that Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona finally sworn in after she won her special election. Like, I mean, it feels like 6 months ago, but I think it's been a couple months. Um, and she'll be the 218th vote to release Epstein's files. So let's take a look. Will the Epstein files be released? And let's Spirit show me what's going to happen with the release of those files. All right. Here's the Queen of Pentacles here. This is dealing with providing financially. Let's see what it's crossing. It's crossing by the Two of Wands. Um, and this is meaning that there is with the release. I think there is going to be a release of the files. I think one of the big things that are going to surprise it's not necessarily the individuals, it's definitely the money exchanging that we're talking about here. In the past, when the government reopens and they get this vote, this is a judgment card. It's definitely a judgment on individuals, on what's been going on, and also a changing point. Again, here with the Ace of Pentacles, we're dealing with a lot of the shocking things. There's going to be the truth with the Queen of Swords counting this reading about money exchanges. And definitely it's going to deal with things overseas with the Three of Wands. And looking at the spread right now, what I having, this can also mean that some of the when we release the files, whatever we have, there might be leaks from overseas as well about the money. So it can be another double meaning there. Um, it's going to bring truth to these illusions that people were talking about the real truth. This is definitely going to be a new beginning, a new awakening about what's been going on with the Fool card. The devil is in the hopes and fears, not surprising, and there's going to be a lot of heartache with the with this information. Again, there's going to be a lot of talk about the finances. There's going to be individuals that will go into solitude after this information is released. We'll have the Ace of Wands, which is strong communication cards, calling out people, and public victory in the strength of the victims coming through. So yeah, these are definitely showing that it will come out. Whether it comes out with us first or coincide with things being leaked out from overseas, it's coming, and it's a lot going to be doing with the money, which is not surprising in regards to the money factor, because that's probably the easiest way, other than people saying this person was there, this person was there. The money exchanges, it really tells what they were doing with the money. I mean, visiting Epstein's island is one thing. It can make you look bad for visiting this island stuff, but if you're giving him money, what are you giving him money for? What is that about? So I guess TBD on that. We'll see. Okay. Going back to talking more about post-election, let's talk about uh, if now with this blue wave that happened on Tuesday, does this mean that the Democrats will be able to, in 2026, have the majority in both houses? So will they have a majority in the House of Representatives and the Senate? I know the House is easier for the Democrats, so I'm just looking at a high level overview. Later on next year, we can take a look at whether that they will and look at each House of Congress. But let's just look at this high level. Will the Democrats be able to? Ooh, it's too many cards. Will Democrats be able to have the majority in both houses of Congress after the 2026 elections, midterm elections? Okay, this is definitely winning at all costs here, um, being crossed. And let me just say with that, that's definitely Democrats have been changing their strategy on how they've been speaking, and even more so, this is going to happen. Um, the reverse is the Knight of or Pentacles, which this is being crossed by. I think there's going to be a lot of self-discipline on this narrative. They have to change their course if they want to have more of a majority. This is in the past, the Seven of Cups, a lot of opportunities, choices, searching for purpose. The Democrats were so totally searching. Definitely right now, they are preparing. It's the foundation of their reading. They're really gearing up for this because they want to find meaning and bring balance back into the government with that temperance card coming in the near future. This is a very positive sign with the sun card coming through, which is a very good sign we're seeing. Definitely a rebirth going on with the judgment card. Again, here comes some major arcanas, just 3 in a row right there, then there. Up here's the fourth one coming in for Wheel of Fortune from the outside. This is a very good turning point for the Democrats coming in. the Six of Swords, their hope is moving out of the troubled waters. And this is the Seven of Pentacles. They're looking at the long-term view with with this planning. So and at the bottom of the card, we have they're going to be viewed as more of a natural leader with the King of Wands and communicating that, and then the Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, I think there's a very strong chance that they can take on both houses. Will they? We yet to see. We don't know all the candidates that are going to come through. We still have primaries to go through for 2026 that will be upcoming, and see how things will happen. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that are going to be happening before the end of this year. So, okay. Another thing that came out, and I kind of was a big deal. Then the election happened, and then on Tuesday, so this kind of got washed up. I think it started this weekend because um, uh, hmm, Erica Kirk, I went blank in her name. Erica Kirk was talking, had a Turning Point USA event, and JD Vance was there. There was that awkward hug that happened, and just the way she was talking. And prior to that, the vice president was talking about publicly, like in front of an audience, about how he wants Usha, his wife, the second lady, to convert, and she didn't want to, she was there in the audience in both events. So it's just there's been questions on how their marriage is doing, Usha and JD. So let's take a look at what's been going on in how their marriage is looking right now. I don't want to say quickly that they're going divorce, but let's just take a peek in how their marriage is going right now. I'm not going into the page 6 rumors of Washington, D.C., what the people are thinking about, but because to me that's a distraction about real problems. But let's just take a look at the general view of this. There, we have the Ten of Cups. There was some contentment, gratitude for each other, but it's being crossed by the Hangman. So this is meaning that there's resistance. I have of sacrifice, and this could be for either or we could talk about both. I don't know. They haven't. It's hard to tell when you're talking about two people, but there's definitely there is a problem in the marriage when it when it comes to sacrificing for the other. In the background, there's collaboration. So one thing that I never took on this narrative, I never believed this narrative, Usha being stuck in this marriage, stuck in this MAGA world. No. She worked under Kavanaugh and Roberts, the justices, so she's very much a smart cookie, and she's very much of a conservative, and she's a lawyer by trade. So definitely she did help JD. And actually there was recently it was revealed that Usha does look over deals. I think there was a Ukrainian deal that she was asked to be brought in to look over and had her thoughts about it. So she's very much involved. There's definitely a lot of hard work burden going on right now that they're dealing with. And don't get me wrong, these cards right now showing that there's a lot of issues. Is it surprising when you're under the public eye that you're struggling right now? I think a lot of times they spend a lot of times apart with a lot of solitude and with the Four of Swords. And there is going to be some kind of emotional heartbreak and grief in the near future with the Three of Swords. I don't know from what. There is some conflicts going on. Winning out, I think this is definitely JD with the Five of Swords, winning at all costs. He is really wanting to keep moving up. He definitely wants to be president. So there is some type of hidden agenda with the High Priestess. And then, of course, what's in the fear of hope and fears is Trump with the Emperor card here, influencing their marriage. And there's a lot of soul searching going on with the Hermit card. So there you go. There is a lot of issues going on right now. I want to say that a lot of it not that there are two people in the marriage, so there's probably a little bit on both, but I want to say it leans mainly on JD in regards to causing a lot of the issues that are going on between them. So there we go. Where are we at time? Oh, good. All right. One last question. I want to do another update, like I have been, not every week, but the last ones I have, like taking a look at Trump's health again. Where are we on that? I know recently he had an MRI done. So let's take a look at Trump's health. Spirit, where are we at with Trump's health? How is he doing? Where's he going in his health? Okay. This is the King of Cups, which means that to be emotionally balanced. What's this being crossed by? The Four of Cups. This is checking in for realignment. There's something going on with him being emotionally stable. So there's something's going on in regards to that. I think there's people who are noticing that with Trump. Here's in the past you have the Nine of Wands. There was a lot more energy going on with him. Eight of Cups. He's walking away a lot of times from doing a lot of things because he is very exhausted. And he's trying to overcome these challenges with the King of Wands. There is a lot of deception going on in the near future. Again, more so with this health we're talking about deceiving the public in regards to how bad his health is. He is meeting with people with the Lover's card to work on some of the things. He's definitely trying to get medicine with the Six of Pentacles. Doctors are in there trying to give him new medicine to work on his health. There's a lot of delusions going on with the Seven of Cups, excuse me, and this is a lot of worry and fear with the Nine of Swords. So yeah, he's still not looking good. I think a lot of it now is becoming more noticeable. We have the physical part and it's starting to show with his emotional side, which is not good either. His emotional outbursts, and yeah, he had emotional, but it's probably more overt, more out of the unusual. So, yeah, so that's where we're at with that. All right. Let's do a general message for everyone and closing. Again, thank you for everyone who views my videos. If you would do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that like. Also, feel free to comment with questions you might want me to ask in future videos. Just no personal questions, please. I am happy to do that and ask my spirit guide about these questions. And again, thank you so much. Let's do a general reading for everyone so we can get a reading that will be helpful to everyone out there. Okay. Right now we have a lot of progress and determination coming very fast with this Chariot card. With this fast moving changes that are going on with the Ace of Swords crossing this, there could be a lot of feeling confused and feeling like, is this really going to be how things are happening? Is this really going to be a change? And in the past, and it has to do because in the past we've had a lot of heartbreak in the three of swords. Also, there's a lot of financial difficulties out there right now. I mean, we've all seen the grocery prices. Some of you may be worse off in regards to not receiving your SNAP benefits. I'm sure I know there's viewers out there that are federal workers that are not working right now that are worried. And we're gearing up for the worst. We're also standing up, and this is a test of faith, what's going on right now with the Nine of Wands. We're definitely at a crossroads with the Two of Swords. And there's a lot of pessimism out there. I see it a lot, hear it a lot with the Five of Cups. We just have to remember to hold on to hope and to that there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be bullies. This is no different than the bullies that we've experienced in the past. But we have to hope for this turning point, this good turning point with the Wheel of Fortune that's in there, and to stay emotionally balance and truly be empathetic. And we've already seen it with this disaster that's going on with the government shutdown and the ending of SNAP benefits at the time. We're seeing how empathetic people are. People are giving, people are helping out their neighbors, and doing their best. And that's not to say that we can't continue to do it or do more or in a different way. But we're going to get through this. We have to be persistent. We have to keep hope and faith. And with that being said, thank you again for joining me. Until next time, bye-bye.